1. Who is Donald Trump? Donald Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York. He is the 45th and current President of the United States, who took office January 20, 2017. Previously, he was a real estate mogul, and a former reality TV star. In 1971, Trump became involved in large, profitable building projects in Manhattan. In 1980, he opened the Grand Hyatt New York, which made him the city's best-known developer. In 2004, Trump began starring in the hit NBC reality series The Apprentice, which also spawned the offshoot The Celebrity Apprentice. Trump turned his attention to politics, and in 2015 he announced his candidacy for President of the United States on the Republican ticket. After winning a majority of the primaries and caucuses, Trump became the official Republican candidate for president on July 19, 2016. That November, Trump was elected the 45th President of the United States, after defeating Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton. 2. Net worth. According to a September 2017 Forbes estimate, Donald Trump's net worth is $3.1 billion. Of that, $1.6 billion is in New York real estate, $570 million is in golf clubs and resorts, $500 million is in non-New York real estate, $290 million is in cash and personal assets, and $200 million is in brand businesses. That's down from $3.7 billion in 2016, according to Fortune, mostly due to declining New York real estate values. Over the years, Trump's net worth has been a subject of public debate. In 1990, Trump asserted his own net worth in the neighborhood of $1.5 billion. However, the real estate market was in decline, reducing the value of an income from Trump's empire. A Forbes magazine investigation into his assets revealed that his existing debt likely brought the number closer to $500 million. In any event, the Trump Organization required a massive infusion of loans to keep it from collapsing, a situation which raised questions as to whether the corporation could survive bankruptcy. Some observers saw Trump's decline as symbolic of many of the business, economic and social excesses that had arisen in the 1980s. Donald Trump eventually managed to climb back from a reported deficit of nearly $900 million, claiming to have reached a zenith of more than $2 billion. However, independent sources again questioned his math, estimating his worth at something closer to $500 million by 1997. Over the course of his 2016 presidential run, Trump's net worth was questioned and he courted controversy after repeatedly refusing to release his tax returns, while they were being audited by the Internal Revenue Service. He did not release his tax returns before the November election, the first time a major party candidate had not released such information to the public since Richard Nixon in 1972. 3. Family. The fourth of 5 children, Donald Trump's parents were Frederick C. and Mary Ann McLeod Trump. Frederick Trump was a builder and real estate developer, who specialized in constructing and operating middle-income apartments in Queens, Staten Island and Brooklyn. Mary McLeod immigrated from Tong, Scotland, in 1929 at the age of 17. She married Fred Trump in 1936, and the couple settled in Jamaica, Queens, a neighborhood that was, at the time, filled with Western European immigrants. In the 1950s the Trumps' wealth increased with the post-war real estate boom, and Mary became a New York socialite and philanthropist. Fred died in 1999, and Mary passed away the following year. Wives and kids. Donald J. Trump has had 3 wives, and is currently married to Slovenian model Melania Knaus, now Trump, over 23 years his junior. In January 2005, the couple married in a highly publicized and lavish wedding. Among the many celebrity guests at the wedding were Hillary Clinton, and former President Bill Clinton. Melania gave birth to their son, Baron William Trump, in March 2006. In 1977, Trump married his first wife Ivana Zelníková-Winkelmeyer, a New York fashion model who had been an alternate on the 1972 Czech Olympic ski team. After the 1977 birth of the couple's first of three children, Donald John Trump Jr., Ivana Trump was named vice president in charge of design in the Trump Organization, and played a major role in supervising the renovation of the Commodore and the Plaza Hotel. The couple had two more children together, Ivanka Trump born in 1981 and Eric Trump born in 1984, and went through a highly publicized divorce which was finalized in 1992. In 1993 Trump married his second wife, Marla Maples, an actress with whom he had been involved for some time and already had a daughter, Tiffany Trump born in 1993. Trump would ultimately file for a highly publicized divorce from Maples in 1997, which became final in June 1999. A prenuptial agreement allotted $2 million to Maples. Trump's sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, work as executive vice presidents for the Trump Organization, and took over the family business while their father serves as president. Trump's daughter Ivanka was also an executive vice president of the Trump Organization, but left the business and her own fashion label to join her father's administration, and become an unpaid assistant to the president. Her husband, Jared Kushner, is also a senior advisor to President Trump. 4. Childhood education. Donald was an energetic, assertive child. His parents sent him to the New York Military Academy at age 13, hoping the discipline of the school would channel his energy in a positive manner. Trump did well at the academy, both socially and academically, rising to become a star athlete and student leader by the time he graduated in 1964. He then entered Fordham University and 2 years later transferred to the Wharton School of Finance, at the University of Pennsylvania, from which he graduated in 1968, with a degree in economics. During his years at college, Trump worked at his father's real estate business during the summer. He also secured education deferments for the Vietnam War draft and ultimately a 1Y medical deferment after he graduated. 5. Trump versus Clinton. The 2016 presidential campaign. Trump began his political career by seeking the nomination for the Reform Party for the 2000 presidential race and withdrew. He again publicly announced he would be running for president in the 2012 election. However, it wasn't until the 2016 election that Trump became the official Republican nominee for president, and, defying polls and media projections, won the majority of Electoral College votes in a stunning victory on November 8, 2016. Despite losing the popular vote to Hillary Clinton by almost 2.9 million votes, Trump's electoral win, 306 votes to Clinton's 232 votes, clinched his election as the 45th President of the United States. After one of the most contentious presidential races in U.S. history, Trump's rise to the office of president was considered a resounding rejection of establishment politics by blue-collar and working-class Americans. In his victory speech, Trump said, "I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans." About his supporters, he said, "As I've said from the beginning, ours was not a campaign, but rather an incredible and great movement made up of millions of hard-working men and women, who love their country and want a better, brighter future for themselves and for their families." 6. First 100 days. The first 100 days of Trump's presidency lasted from January 20, 2017, until April 29, 2017. In the first days of his presidency, President Trump issued a number of back-to-back executive orders, to make good on some of his campaign promises, as well as several orders aimed at rolling back policies and regulations, that were put into place during the Obama administration. Several of Trump's key policies that got rolling during Trump's first 100 days in office, include his Supreme Court nomination, Steps toward building a wall on the Mexico border. A travel ban for several predominantly Muslim countries. The first moves to dismantle the Affordable Care Act. And the U.S. withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement. In addition, Trump signed orders to implement a federal hiring freeze, withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and reinstate the Mexico City policy that bans federal funding of non-governmental organizations abroad that promote or perform abortions. He signed an order to scale back financial regulation under the Dodd-Frank Act, created by the Obama administration, and passed by Congress after the financial crisis of 2008. And he called for a lifetime foreign lobbying ban for members of his administration, and a 5-year ban for all other lobbying. On March 16, 2017, the president released his proposed budget. The budget outlined his plans for increased spending for the military, Veterans Affairs and national security, including building a wall on the border with Mexico. It also made drastic cuts to many government agencies including the Environmental Protection Agency, and the State Department, as well as the elimination of the National Endowment for the Arts, the National Endowment for the Humanities, funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and the Community Development Block Grant Program, which supports Meals on Wheels. 7. Trump's Supreme Court nominations. On January 31, 2017, President Trump nominated Judge Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. The 49-year-old conservative judge was appointed by President George Walker Bush to the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit in Denver. Judge Gorsuch was educated at Columbia, Harvard and Oxford and clerked for Supreme Justices Byron White and Anthony Kennedy. The nomination came after Merrick Garland, President Obama's nominee to replace the late Antonin Scalia, was denied a confirmation hearing by Senate Republicans. As Gorsuch's legal philosophy was considered to be similar to Scalia's, the choice drew strong praise from the conservative side of the aisle. Millions of voters said this was the single most important issue for them, when they voted for me for president. President Trump said, "I am a man of my word. Today I am keeping another promise to the American people, by nominating Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court." After Gorsuch gave 3 days of testimony, before the Senate Judiciary Committee in March, the Senate convened on April 6 to advance his nomination. Democrats mostly held firm to deny the 60 votes necessary to proceed, resulting in the first successful partisan filibuster of a Supreme Court nominee. But Republicans quickly countered with another historic move, invoking the nuclear option to lower the threshold for advancing Supreme Court nominations, from 60 votes to a simple majority of 50. On April 7, Gorsuch was confirmed by the Senate to become the 113th Justice of the Supreme Court. The following year, President Trump had another opportunity to continue the rightward push of the Supreme Court, with the retirement of Justice Kennedy. On July 9, 2018, he nominated Brett Kavanaugh, another textualist and originalist in the mold of Scalia. Democrats vowed to fight the nomination, though their options remained limited as the minority party. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe us for upcoming videos.